Rushing you. Hate to rush you, but I'm rushing you. Welcome to Covers This Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo. When's the last time you heard your name on a big speaker like that?
It's been a while. Well, actually, I was reliving a lot of my name from the famous calls by Bob Cole, R.I.P.
Were you searching Bob Cole plus Carlo Colaiacovo?
Well, no. Did you see the one I shared on social media?
Yeah,
one of my big hits that I had in my career on Bill Guerin was a call by him. So I've heard my name called a lot in the last couple. I would say the last day.
Did they butcher your name in Germany when they went on the PA?
No, actually, they didn't.
Wow, that's awesome.
They had it with a German accent, so it was pretty cool.
It's like a straight English name.
Carlo Colaiacovo.
Oh, that fires one up. That fires you up. It's like Joe Smith getting announced at the Bell Center with a French accent on it. Joe Smith. That's terrible French accent, but always try to slap one on there. 4-game slate. We're in and we're out. Let's go. Rangers, Washington. Washington's only chance in this series was Charlie Lindgren, bud. And guess what? Charlie Lindgren ain't doing it. No. 864 save percentage. The man has had to play 19 of 20 games dating back to March 14th. Maybe you got to find somewhere in between that and what Monty's doing in Boston. There's a happy medium somewhere in there. But running this is too much. So let's get out of the way. Rangers 3-way money line, even money. Let's take this. Rangers are the top team right now in expected goals per 60 at all strengths across all series so far. Washington shooting 5% at 5-on-5. That's the worst in the playoffs. And guess what? With that lineup, maybe they won't be doing any better. Question to you, with Lindgren off his game, do you give the Caps much of a chance? And does the last change mean that much to Washington with an offense that is already spread thin, like Strome, Ovi, and Pacioretty all on 3 different lines?
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to follow that up with a no. I don't see them having much of a chance in series. Look, they scored 3 goals last game to give them a little bit of a chance, but I mean, Washington's a team that struggled to score goals all year. Can we expect them to score 3 again tonight? You almost think that they have to give themselves a chance to win against Shesterkin and the way he's playing with the Rangers. Look, the Eastern Conference is basically playing itself out. I mean, you see Florida 3-0 lead on Tampa, which surprised me. Carolina 3-0 lead on Islanders. It surprised me that it's 3-0 because I thought the Islanders would have gotten a game, but we could see sweeps here, and I can't see Washington being a game that gives the Rangers a series, or be the team that gives the Rangers a series. So I being all over the Rangers in this one is definitely well worth it, and something that we shouldn't be overly persuade in any other way. No,
I'm with you on that. One to add to this game. Back on it, Jacob Trouba, 3+ block shots plus 125.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Game script.
Yeah.
Desperation from Washington. Desperation means what? Desperation means don't be cute. Get pucks towards the net. That means more block shots. Like I said, 9 through 2 games. And there's going to be some shots from Washington, especially with New York hopefully sitting on that lead. So like that for some big plus money. And as I said, we were mentioning the Vegas game. If you're going to bet block shots, the scoring is difficult to pay attention to. It's not 100% accurate. I suggest getting plus money odds for some of these. Don't lay juice with the block shot market. Vancouver, Nashville. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it. Casey, just you have to play such a different game. So Nashville -110 on the money line. Let's go. Demko out. Tyler Myers was dealing with an illness. He was out of the lineup in game 2. And word is Demko is done for the series. Tell me, you're Rick Tocchet. Demko's down. DeSmith gives up a goal on his first shot, right? So at home, kind of the air's let out of the barn. What's your message to this offense heading into Nashville that will have an absolute rocking barn?
Well, your message is, hey, believe in ourselves, right? Next man up. Casey DeSmith is, I think in most people's eyes, is not a guy you can trust to play in a 10-game stretch and be a number one goalie, but he's a guy you can trust to win you a hockey game. I mean, did a lot of it during the year. So that's the message from the Vancouver Canucks. But clearly there's a gap between what Demko can provide and what Casey DeSmith can provide. And Nashville getting the split that they obviously looked for to come out of Vancouver. They could have easily won game one. I mean, it was 2-2 going into the third period, and actually had a lead going into the third period in that first game. Now they're coming home, and I can tell you one thing: playoff hockey in Nashville is different. Man. It's different level. The crowd is going to be into it. The players are going to feed off of that. You wonder how Vancouver is going to handle, some of that energy and at least the storm in the first 10 minutes that I think Nashville is going to want to present. I don't understand this line either. Me and you before the show looked at this line. It's like, is this one of those lines where the books are tricking us to bet Nashville because they want the money on Nashville? Or is this the books looking at it and saying it's a 2 versus 7? A 7 seed is getting the right market for being a 7 seed. I don't get this. This should be a way higher line, and it's hard that you're not jumping on this considering Nashville's a really good hockey team.
No, it's they're a great team. Obviously, they're one line heavy, but like the additions of Zucker does give them a little middle six scoring depth. And, Evan Jolie. It's just something that they haven't had. But I mean, Philip Forsberg, I still think, is probably the most underrated offensive player in all of hockey. The guy's an absolute
48 or 49.
What's that, goals?
Well, yeah.
I think he got 49. I could be wrong, but let me know in the chat if I am wrong. Appreciate everybody chatting. Jesse Schulz saying, I'm just hanging out with some wine and a charcuterie plate at 10 p.m. local time in Thailand. Hey, welcome to Thailand. Let's go. Puck props worldwide. Appreciate everybody there. Boston A. P. Boston A. says it's one of his favorite shows. I appreciate that too. Thanks for watching the baseball show as well. But that's where we are. And then we go to another guy, an absolute stud, an absolute playoff stud that you want to have in your locker room in the postseason, and a guy who's probably been a motivator for a few locker rooms on big playoff runs. Ryan McDonough, I mean, over 2.5 block shots at plus 150. Vancouver, this is the funniest stat of game 2, and you kind of have to dig in to get it. Vancouver had 84 shot attempts in that game. That is a huge number. Like, good teams get around 65 to 70. 18 of those went on net. They had 84 shot attempts and only 18 hit the net. 3 Nashville defenders had 3 plus block shots. There was a lot going on. Game script obviously had a big part of that, but that same game script could exist today. So more block shots in this spot. I mean, Vancouver can't afford to go down 2-1 here with game 4 on the road without a goalie. So desperation is coming. Great price for a guy who played 23-40 and PK1 game 2. Another one. Let's keep it rolling. JT Miller, over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 120. 3 shots in goal in game 2, but 10 shot attempts. He had a team high 8 shot attempts in game 1. So there's a lot to like in him. He's just not getting it on net, but those things will come. Kind of correlates. Hopefully, if we can't get that, we'll get the block shots. But in this spot, I really don't know what else to add on this to ask you. Like, is it deflating for the locker room to be like, your guy's gone, or is that just a media hype up thing?
Well, it maybe would have been, through the first 24 hours of the news. It's not even a focal point now. I mean, you can't sit
turn the page and move on.
You can't sit there and sulk about it. It's the reality of the situation that you're in, and you're just hoping that somebody else can step up and fill the void. And for Vancouver, that's all you can focus on. And I bet you that's something that their leaders have discussed too. They don't want this to derail the season that they've had. And, we've seen crazier situations play out with other guys stepping in and especially in goal. I mean, every year, the Laurent Brossoit goes down for Vegas last year. Aiden Hill comes in and leads into the Stanley Cup. So that's the mentality that Vancouver's going to live by right now. And, optically, the mentality we're living by is we don't think they have a chance with the Smith and Nets.
No, and I think it's better. I think it's better than a coin flip that Nashville wins this game.
But the whole Miller thing, I mean, you talked about the desperation they're going to play with. They haven't done a good job beating Saros enough in this series. At home, he's probably feeling a lot. He's probably going to be feeling a lot better about himself. They've got to find a way to generate more traffic towards the net.
Patterson's not looking great either. Like we talk about
not.
Mitch here. That guy blew both teams to score in the first period on that off wing clapper on the side. It just missed the net. You're like, what are you doing? Got to bury that one. But that's where we are in that game. Moving on. Winnipeg, Colorado. I think this game is more game one than it is game two.
Yeah.
Alex Georgiev, I mean, yes, we can obviously game two. Everyone was saying he's not going to do it. Well, guess what? Just because of game two doesn't change my mind at what kind of goalie Alex Georgiev is. We're doubling up here. Two-way scoring. Both teams to score in the first period, plus 160. That is a great number considering the total on this game is 6.5.
Yeah.
That is usually reserved for 6 and 5s and a half.
And both teams have scored in the first two games in the first period. So
Colorado didn't score in the first period. Winnipeg went into that first break in game two up 1-0.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. But that brings me to the other point. Both of these offenses, however the game script goes, both of these offenses can play from behind or play bad with the lead, as we've seen. So then we jump over to the other play. Both teams to score 3 goals, plus 160. This hit in the first period in game one. Connor Hellebuck. And it's the same thing with Ottinger. They just go on these awful stretches of garbage hockey, 67 of 77 shots, and has allowed 10 goals. But on the other side, Winnipeg has shown that they can beat Colorado, who was the number one home team in all of hockey. They just won 7-0 there 2 weeks ago, right? Alex Georgiev has a .903 save percentage at home, which is insane to think of, considering the team won like 80% of its games at home. And then on the other side, Colorado at home, averaging 6.92 total goals per game. Only Toronto has a higher number. It's the number one home offense in all hockey. Both teams can score. Carlo, am I just square thinking that goals can be scored in this game in altitude? Number one home offense versus a struggling goalie, or does Hellebuck kind of turn it around? How do you see game 3 going? Because as a Winnipeg backer, it's a little sweaty.
Yeah, it has to be, because everything you just talked about, like Colorado is a completely different team at home.
Yeah.
And look, you have to have faith in Hellebuck, considering who he is, the season he's had. Like, he's probably going to win the Vezina this year. That this guy is going to find a way to figure it out. As Jesse Scholl just pointed out, Georgiev is 24-6 at home this year in his record. So Colorado is a very good home team. If the Jets have any, when we tried to handicap this series, we basically said these teams match up pretty close offensively. They're deep on their forward group. They're pretty good on the back end. The difference in this series is Hellebuck's a way better goalie than Georgiev. Hellebuck has to find a way to be way better than he's been.
Oh, yeah.
And if he is, that gives the Jets the edge again. But I mean, but the thing you worry about here is because of how good Colorado has played us. So like I said, they're a completely different team at home. Can they establish that home dominance on Winnipeg early and really creep some doubt into Hellebuck and the Jets' heads?
Because the series doesn't feel like 1-1 if you're Winnipeg, right? It feels like, but they are. Jesse does say Georgiev 24-6 at home. Guess what? Winnipeg 2 wins at the Pepsi Center.
Yeah,
I believe it's the Pepsi Center now.
That's true. No, it's not the Ball Arena.
Ball Arena. Oh, it was the Pepsi Center.
The Pepsi Center. Yeah.
Hate when you try to flex, you know it, and you're wrong. All right, got to get Carlo out of here. Last game, Edmonton Kings. Surprise win in game 2, obviously, but what we know that goals and offense are still coming in this series. McDavid's still a beast, but we're not going too much into this, but we're going back to the well. And Bouchard over 2.5 shots on goal, even money, back-to-back winners on that one. The power play's been great. What'd we say? 4 for 7 to begin with.
For Edmonton,
yeah, and I mean, if one's getting it, the other one's getting it, expecting goals, right? If you want to put both of these late games over 5.5, run it down over 5.5, probably not a bad look there. But let's get Bushi for a playoff or a power play. Oh, sorry, just a straight assist, -115. That's a great price on that.
Yeah.
They're still pricing the Kings as this dominant team, but I think just Edmonton just has their number offensively. Whether the Kings can score 5 and win the game, I get it. But Edmonton's offense can do what it wants in this series, no?
Oh, they absolutely can. I mean, they almost, won a game yesterday in comeback fashion, or the other night in comeback fashion, right? They dominated in game 1, almost had a comeback win. Skinner didn't really play his best, a couple leaky goals, but Edmonton still found a way to score. They still put up 4, and they put up 4 with Bouchard not being a part of it, the offense at all. He had 4 assists in game 1, 0 points in game 2. You got to think that if Edmonton's a team that wins this game, it's going to be because they outscore LA, and for how much Bouchard plays on the ice, both on the power play and regular 5-on-5, you got to think he's going to find his way back onto the score sheet.
Yeah, absolutely. Parker says Kempe over 2.5. Yeah, it's obvious. It's a great play. I mean, if you pair that with his point in this, I think he can get close to even money. Let's do a quick recap there, as Carlo's got to keep working. The man doesn't stop. Rangers, money line, 3-way, regulation, even money. Next, Trouba, 3 block shots, +125. That one keeps going. Nashville, money line, -110. Carlo's crazy. Everyone's probably going to be on it. It might not move. McDonough, 3 block shots, +150. Let's go. Then we got JT Miller. He's been shooting. They just haven't hit the net. That changes tonight. Over 2.5 shots on goal, -120. Then we stack Colorado, Winnipeg. Both teams to score first period, +160. Next, both teams to score 3 in the game, +165. That would be sweet if we could hit both of those. And then a double up on Bushi here, over 2.5 shots on goal, getting a better price in game 3. Even money, assist, -115. Let's go. Cups of coffee, yes. Got to get Carlo at the door, though. The man is a beast. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Carlo Colaiacovo. This is NHL Puck Prop presented by Sports Interaction. See you back here Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Lead us out, pal.
Let's stay hot. Let's continue to pile up the profits, and let's have a great weekend. Ciao.